Madness at Ibrox as Russell Martin faces a do-or-die week that could seal his fate, and a shocking twist as Steven Gerrard's powerful dressing room movement resurfaces, sparking fresh calls for a sensational return. Meanwhile, chaos brews over Hamza Igamane's exit as Lille pull a ludicrous stunt. Rangers stand firm on their £15 million price tag, and frustration boils over behind the scenes. And just when you think it couldn't get any wilder, a £3.5 million move for the Portobello Pirlo could be the transfer masterstroke to save the season. Strap in, this is one you need to see through to the end. You've watched it, you've felt it. This season's start has been nothing short of a slow-motion car crash after that glorious march past Panathinaikos and Victoria Plzen in Champions League qualifying, where we actually looked like a side with ambition. It all came crashing down at Ibrox. 3 goals shipped in 20 minutes to Club Brugge at home. That's not just bad, that's embarrassing. A 3-1 defeat that leaves us needing divine intervention in Belgium, or it's back to the Europa League circus again. And as if that wasn't enough to make you want to kick the dugout wall, the league start's been a farce too. 1-1 draws against Motherwell and Dundee. Dundee at Ibrox. It's the first time since 1989 under Graham Souness that we've not won either of our opening 2 league matches. You know what happened back then? Souness nearly throttled the entire dressing room, so the pressure is boiling over and it's all on Russell Martin's shoulders now. The man arrived with bold talk and a possession-based system. But if it's all pass, pass, pass and no punch, then what are we even doing? Pedro Caixinha's ghost is lingering already. Martin could be staring down the barrel of the shortest reign since that infamous Progrès nightmare if things don't pick up by November. But here's the twist in the tale. A potential lifeline, a statement signing, and maybe, just maybe, a midfielder who can breathe new life into this system. Andy Irving, the so-called Portobello Pirlo, a lad with roots in Edinburgh, but talent that's travelled well beyond the Forth. £3.5 million is the reported price. Peanuts if he lives up to the billing. He's strutted his stuff in Germany, dazzled in Austria, and even made the jump to West Ham. Limited minutes, sure, but he got his Scotland cap and has still made a name for himself as a deep-lying maestro who can take the ball under pressure and slice through the lines. That's exactly what Martin's rigid robotic midfield is missing right now. And let's be honest, Joe Rothwell's not exactly lighting up the Govan skies, is he? Irving brings something different. A local lad with international polish. He's got flair, calmness, and vision. He might not be one of our own, but he's Scottish. And at this point, someone who actually cares about pulling on that shirt could go a long way in reconnecting a frustrated support with the pitch. If Martin brings in Irving and he clicks, could it not only save Martin's job, but actually turn the tide this season? Or, and here's the proper bar brawl question, would bringing in a former Hearts man to wear the Rangers shirt be an act of desperation that reeks more of panic than of planning? What do you reckon? Would you welcome the Portobello Pirlo with open arms? Or is this just another dud signing to distract from the deeper cracks at Ibrox? Hamza Igamane, still a Rangers player, still stuck in limbo and still being courted by Leela like a dithering teenager asking someone to prom. It's been rumbling all summer, and just when you think it's wrapped up, they try to pull a stunt like a season-long loan, a loan for a player valued at £15 million. That's not negotiation, that's cheek. Rangers rightly told them to bolt, and quite frankly, good on them. Because here's the truth, Igamane didn't arrive as a marquee name, but after just over £1 million from Asfar Rabat, he's become a star. He's got pace to burn, he can finish with either foot, and he's terrorized defenders both in Scotland and in Europe. He's not a flash in the pan, he's a modern forward with consistency to match his flair. At 22, with 4 years left on his contract, the ball is firmly in Rangers' court. But this is where things get murky. Derek Ferguson's made his feelings clear. He reckons the boy's not happy. And let's be honest, it started to show the energy's been off. He doesn't look like a lad fully locked into life at Ibrox. You can see it in the body language. You can feel it in the way the manager keeps skirting around questions about his future. It's awkward and it's draining the whole situation of focus. The club wants replacements. Martin needs funds, but nothing moves unless Lille stop trying to buy champagne with lemonade money. And while Rangers aren't desperate, not yet anyway, the longer this saga drags on, the more it feels like an unnecessary weight on the dressing room. You want players who want to wear the shirt. If Igamane is already mentally packing his bags, then you have to wonder, is it worth holding out for every last penny? He's worth £15 million, no doubt about that. But here's the controversial bit. Would it be smarter for Rangers to cut the losses, take a slightly lower fee and reinvest quickly to fix the squad? Or should the club hold firm, even if it means keeping an unhappy player who no longer wants to play for the badge? Russell Martin is walking a tightrope at Ibrox, and the wind is picking up after that 3-1 pumping by Club Brugge, with fans leaving their seats before half-time. It's crystal clear that the goodwill is gone, Ian, and the mood has turned. Now, you've got Chris Boyd coming out swinging, calling it ludicrous to talk about Martin being under pressure this early. But even Boyd, no stranger to defending a Rangers man under fire, admits that if we lose to St Mirren and then to them at Ibrox next week, it's not just pressure Martin will be feeling, it's the walls closing in. Let's be honest here. The football's been slow, passive, and miles off what Rangers should be producing. 3 wins in 8 matches is nowhere near the standard. And being 4 points behind Celtic already before we've even hit September is beyond worrying. It's infuriating. The new American ownership, led by Andrew Kavanagh and 49ers Enterprises, talked a big game when they arrived. Fresh investment, new ideas, a new era. They've backed Martin in the market, but results speak louder than balance sheets. You're judged at Ibrox by silverware, swagger, and wins over Celtic. And right now, none of those boxes are being ticked. You can feel the tension in the air. You saw it in the Brugge game. That wasn't just a bad night. That was a crowd losing faith. And once the Ibrox crowd turns, no ownership group, no matter how American or ambitious, can ignore it for long. Martin was always a left field choice, a manager sacked by Southampton, brought in with a fancy philosophy and buzzwords about positional play and structures. But this is Glasgow. This is Rangers. You don't get time to tinker. If the basics aren't right, you win or you walk. And here's the kicker. We've got Celtic at Ibrox in just days. If we lose that, and we've already dropped points to St Mirren and been dumped out of the Champions League, are you seriously telling me you still want to wait and see how Martin gets on? Would you back the board if they sacked Russell Martin just 8 games into the season? Or would that kind of decision make Rangers look like a club with no plan and no backbone? Now, this is the kind of reminder you need when things feel like they're spiraling, a blast from the Gerrard era, when Rangers stood tall, proud, and unbreakable, when Ibrox was a fortress and Celtic were the ones panicking under pressure. Steven Gerrard didn't just stop the 10, he reignited the fire in this club, and he understood what Rangers meant. You don't win titles at Ibrox by accident. You win them with grit, unity, and an unshakable understanding that stopping Celtic is priority number 1. Kemar Roofe's revelation says it all. Back when the squad were dreaming about European glory, talking up the glamour of the Europa League, Gerrard walked in and stamped his authority. No hesitation, no diplomacy. It's about the league. It's about the 55. It's about putting a boot on Celtic's neck and keeping it there. That's a manager who got it, who didn't need a bedding-in period to understand the magnitude of this club, and maybe that's what's missing now. Russell Martin's still fumbling around with his philosophy while the gap at the top gets wider and the support grows colder. You've got fans whispering about a potential Gerrard return, and who could blame them? One look at his record, one defeat in an entire league season, European nights that roared, and the unshakable presence he brought to the touchline, and it's clear he was the man for that moment. He stared down Celtic's 10-in-a-row dream and buried it 6 feet under. 6. And when you hear Roofe talk about the pressure at Rangers, you remember how unique this job is. You can't hide at Ibrox. You need shoulders like steel girders, because when things go wrong, and right now they are, you've got an entire support demanding answers. Gerrard thrived under that. You think Russell Martin's built for it? If Russell Martin loses the next two to Brugge and to Celtic, and Gerrard suddenly makes himself available, would you take him back in a heartbeat? Or is looking back a sign this club's lost its ambition to move forward? Comment below what you think about the news. Don't forget to leave a like on the video to help me out. I post videos every day talking about our Rangers, so if you're not subscribed, you're missing out on the latest news. See you soon!